Hi there, welcome to Don's Workshop. This is the 11th and final part of my Lamborghini Countach build. So last time we actually got the rear bumper and details on here. So now we're gonna finish it off. Hey, it looks like I got everything sorted here, so let's get started. Well, so this is the last part of this build, and the last part of this AI discussion for now anyway. So as I have been talking about through all of this Countach build is about like AI tools and where I see like kind of how they work and what is the likely, or what is some possible, futures of AI here. I think these tools are very interesting. That is kind of the biggest thing. I think there is a lot of hype around them right now. Some of it is like with anything, some of it is warranted. Some of it is perhaps not warranted. See, this is supposed to go like that, right? There's a lot of statements being made about the job losses and the AI is going to take over everybody's jobs, and now people are not, and some places are firing everybody. It's like, and that's like probably not going to be in the long run what is going to be the actual way AI is used. It's probably not going to be the way it takes jobs either. I think it's going to be actually a little bit unexpected where people lose jobs. Like one of the things that no one mentions during this is like how many managers are actually going to lose their jobs. Because in a lot of cases, the way some of these tools work is not that a manager would necessarily be great at using the tool. It can, in some ways, like for someone who is making stuff, be a good way to use that AI to provide some management over their own project, right? That kind of another like way to get, you need this report. Well, you can just have Claude or ChatGPT writing you up the report. You don't need a manager to do it. So why do you need the manager around? The manager's not needed to write the report anymore. What are you going to do with them, right? I think there is going to be some unexpected, results in how and who might lose their jobs. And I think the companies you really need to look at is you need to look at the ones that have the data about their employees and can use it. And those are like, that's Google, Microsoft, right? They have that data and they have the AI tools and they know how they can use these tools, right? So when you start seeing some of the layoffs that come out of those companies, you could start going, oh, how are these layoffs being decided? Like, are they being decided by like some people, or are they being determined by an AI? Like, are they feeding some data into the AI and going, oh, let's say they decide some level of how many messages or how many emails or how much Git submits are going on, how much is getting done, right? They figure out some metrics to run against the AI, and then they go, okay, who's fulfilling this? Who's the average? Who's above average? Who's below average? right? And they go and ask these questions, and then they go, oh, and it just runs everyone through it. Why would you not run the managers? You're just going to run everyone through it just because you want to see. And then you see, oh, well, look at that. You have some pretty highly paid managers, and then you go, oh, how about we also like include some sort of salary adjustment in here to say, how much are we paying these people that we probably don't need for whatever criteria, whether it be performance or just that they're changing some part of the business and they don't necessarily need a department anymore, and they're just like, hey, are any of these people useful in other areas of the company? And the answer is no. Well, they're going to let them go, and if the answer is yes, then they try to move them to another area, right? And I think if you keep an eye on those companies and see how they are laying people off, I think you're going to see that they are going to be using AI to help them make those decisions going forward. I don't think it's going to be just people doing it. I think it's going to be AI is going to be giving them, they're going to feed some information, some questions, some requirements into the AI. They're going to feed it some data, and they're going to go, hey, who's the low performers here? Who are by amount of money they make, right? Or just straight up, who's just a low performer? They don't care how much money you make. If you're not performing, they're going to let you go. And I think you're going to see that if you haven't already seen it already. There was some layoffs recently by Microsoft. I think there was 2 batches. There was a batch of layoffs. There was like 300 people, and they were apparently mostly in Europe, and people thought it was just a sales department. And I think that was attributed to some change, probably with how some laws in Europe are interpreted and whatnot. Like, that happens all the time. And they decided they don't need that sales department. Now, was that determined by some inputs into AI, or was that just determined by management, right? And then there was a batch of about 2,000 people laid off, but they were actually mostly developers, and there was a lot of senior people that were actually in that group. And it's not like they were not talented or anything. And there were some long working employees, like from Microsoft, were in that group, and they were let go. Microsoft can't say they're doing this because lawsuits would start flying if they said they actually used AI to determine who they were firing. But yeah, I think that one might have been a red flag. Like, they decided to just run a query against some development teams and went, okay, let's try this. Let's see what it comes up with. And it came up with some people they decided they were going to let go. Came up with, if I were, the way I would see it is that, okay, you'd get it to generate some answers about what the performance level is of these people, and then they would send that information off to some managers to ask, like, maybe you should fire, like, you have these people, and can you confirm, looking at these, do you think some of these people should be let go? They probably still ultimately left it up to the managers to make the final decisions, but I bet you the AI contributed in determining who was a low performer. And what the manager was doing was confirming that, yeah, they're probably a low performer, right? Because the managers know. And then you get By doing that, you end up getting managers tweaking the AI to be more accurate at finding the low performers. Is that good? I don't know. It might be. One of the things that's a killer of teams is having somebody who's on the team who is a low performer, and other team members don't like that. If the low performer is significantly lower, people on teams don't like that. They don't like a significantly lower performer. Oh, it's supposed to be these guys. Oops. Okay. Yeah, if you're on a team and you have somebody who's like a significantly low performer, that can really kill a team. A team can really not like that and decide like, no. And it's very disruptive to a team. So it's not necessarily bad to get rid of the low performers. And Microsoft hasn't done something like, I believe what Shopify did, and said they're not hiring anyone new unless they figure out if they can use AI first. I don't think that's the play. I think the play is like, let's use these tools to make our workforce stronger, rather than, because HR has historically been awful in the IT space at determining who's good at IT and who's not. It is a absolute disaster in that space for determining who, like the kind of things like to determine, oh, is this a good developer? Well, how are you supposed to know? Like now with these AI tools out, like how are you supposed to know who's a good developer? Well, you probably need to use AI to determine who's a good developer now. You probably need to have something that is able to run and decide, okay, and you have to have some different criteria on what makes a good developer. That is going to be a big change, I think. It's not just somebody who can do lead code. It's going to be more than that. If the future is going to be using AI tools to do the development with you, I think the more valuable skills are going to be planning. I think being able to really think out how you want the applications structured, being able to determine what kind of infrastructure you would use for that, the research you would do, being able to use the AI tools to do that research. I think all of that is going to end up being a lot more important than just being able to code. You can get the AI to help you do the plan, and you're just doing some of the simpler stuff, or doing some of the stuff, or having the AI do the simpler stuff, and then having you do the more complicated. You have to do the troubleshooting and figure out everything like that. A new cone-shaped Lego element helps recreate the characteristic wing. Cone-shaped. What cone-shaped element? This? Oh, this. Oh, this is... Oh, okay. So this element. I think, maybe. Or those just go down here. They're on the actual fenders, not the wing. Yeah, so I think if you're wondering, and I think only companies like Microsoft and Google can really do that. Maybe Apple has the data, but they don't have the AI in-house, and I don't know how eager they would to be to export that, to have someone else take a look to run it. So it'd be interesting. And Apple's, I think, has a better hiring practice than most other companies. They're not constantly firing people. They're not just hiring a whole bunch of people and firing the ones that don't perform, which has generally been a frequent practice of other tech companies. It's just like, we'll just hire a whole bunch of people and keep the ones that are, and then see how it works. So that's just as good a method as any other. We'll just hire a whole bunch of people and keep the ones that seem to work out. and then fire the rest. Not always fair, but it is essentially a working internship or a paid internship where you actually get paid to do work. But if your work isn't good enough, you're going to get let go. Which I guess technically is probably how places would usually do that before, right? Which I think is a more fair way than what a lot has been doing is happening now. Like they're trying to get people to do free work before hiring them. Oh, here's some work for you to do. You're going to do it for free, and if you do it good, we might hire you. We might hire you, which I think is absolute BS. That these kids coming out of university are being asked to do stuff like that. That is really ridiculous, and I think that's really only in the U.S. I don't know if that's really happening so much in other countries. I think it's probably not legal in much of Europe. So, and I haven't really heard of that being the way they do it in Canada, but I am not 100% sure. So now we got to put those wheels on. So we got double wheels on the back here to create these. So these ones go like that. And then I'm going to put that one like this. Look at that big, beefy wheel back there. And another one like that on this side. That is awesome. So, and then I'm going to put these ones on the front. Let's see if I can get that. Does that go that way, or does it actually go the other way? You actually put it on the other way, I think. Yeah, on the front. Okay, come on, steering wheel. There we go. These are rather easy to do. I can hold this one on this side. Okay. A new rim accommodates steering and deep contour in the back wheels. There we go. Well, that's real nice. Yeah, I changed out my table, so I have a better table here. It's just a solid table instead of a card table, so it's a little better, I think. And nicely, smoothly rolls along here. Okay, these are the mirrors, so those will be, as probably other cars, falling off all the time. Oh, okay. So I've got an extra one of those, which I don't think I'm supposed to have, but anyway, look at that. That's really nice. So that has been part 11 and the final part of my Lamborghini Countach build, along with my discussion about LLMs and agents and AI in general. Anyway, here's the build. That's the car finished and looking very nice with the doors. Open the doors. They kind of have a little, they slide forward a little bit. And the hood will open, but it's a little tricky. Like that. There's the hood, it opens like that. And then there's the, does this open? And then the engine opens as well. And the nice rear tail lights and the headlights on the front there. Anyway, yeah, if you'd like to see my review, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and take it easy.